Hello, everybody. I have a small technical problem with one of my cameras, so I can either show the slides or me, not both. So here we are. You're just going to see the slides. But I want to talk about Tesla being unstoppable, just walk through some interesting things that I think are quite mind blowing and why I believe Tesla is unstoppable. Many people have requested this video. Why are you so bullish on Tesla? And why is it your biggest position? Well, hopefully, this will address some of that. And of course, as we go on, this is not financial advice. As you can see here, it's edutainment. All right. And of course, if you want to amplify your intelligence, subscribe to the channel. But the story is really today, I'm going to talk about the innovative technology, the strong brand, dedicated, very loyal fan base, aggressive expansion plans, talk about some of the successes. We know all about the history and how well it's done, but the question is, can it continue this in the future? So let's just walk through a bunch of points. First of all, let's look at the average car price in the United States. It's $48,000. Tesla smashes the average car price. Now, there was a time when people were talking about ICE parity, that is for a battery electric vehicle, to be as cheap as a average fuel car. Well, now it's a lot cheaper, and a lot of it is, of course, helped by things like the IRA tax credits and other things. But even with that, the Model 3 is actually cheaper than the average car in the US, which is $48,000. With incentives, you can get a Model 3 for $30,000, and in some places as low as $28,000, depending on the state-by-state offers that they have. So we have already gone beyond ICE parity. In addition, there's a whole move around the world. California, for example, is what they call the move, which California is the fifth biggest economy in the world. They want to move to what they call ZEV. Think of that, zero emission vehicles. And the plan is to be at zero emission by the year 2035. Well, California is already above 25% of sales, and it's going vertical. And this is only just beginning, and Tesla is only just beginning to ramp up. So unfortunately, if you don't like battery electric vehicles, you're going to see a lot more of them on the road in the coming future. Now, let's talk about some finance stuff here as well. Tesla margins over time, you can see how they've developed. 29.1% in Q1 2022. That's incredible. That's a margin of a software company. Then it's gone down. And remember, we see Q4 2022, which is not that long ago, only 2 quarters ago, they were at 24% gross margin. Now it's 19.3 and 18.2. A lot of this weakness in margin is reflected in the stock price because people think this is terrible. But really, it's not that bad. Remember, they are building gigafactories and they're scaling gigafactories and they're making investments in chips and FSD and everything else. So with the amount that they're developing and still to be able to even have margins is unbelievable. So I hope people can understand that. Let's look at some more numbers as well. This is the Tesla unit growth quarter over quarter. So what I'm doing here is I'm comparing Q2s, all the Q2s since the year 2011 to the year 2023. And you can see here, there was a big dip in Q2 2020. And we all know that was because the government of California locked down the factories. And that is explained there. Other than that, you can see the growth is unbelievable. In fact, the growth is going vertical. So if you can compare Q2 2023 to Q2 2022, it's nearly double, which is staggering. And a lot of people believe that this at least 50% compound annual growth rate will continue for the next 8 years. Now, let's talk about the path to $100 billion in revenue. You can see here the fastest company before Tesla was Amazon. It took 21 years. Tesla will make it in 20 years. They are on track to make $100 billion in revenue this year. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, but hang on, that's Amazon dollars from 5 years ago or whatever, or 3 years ago. I know it debases, but still $100 billion is a lot, and it's important to show this. Next, we look at the evolution of revenue. I said revolution, revenue, evolution. Okay, maybe that's where that word comes from. But you can see here, this is the 2023 forecast. And again, up and to the right. It is extreme. This is the amount of quarterly revenue that's booked, and we blew through $25 billion last quarter. Let's look at the profit evolution since 2018. Again, 2020, Q1 2020 was the first the Q2 2020 was the first quarter that was actually profitable for them. And since then, it's become very profitable. So despite margins coming down a little bit, they're still making more and more cash flow, more bottom line profit, despite all of the big investments as well. Let's talk about some of the big deals. This is FSD 12. Now, I touched on this yesterday, but Elon has been hinting at FSD 12 all year. He believes it'll be a huge breakthrough. AI is now training itself for it. He is threatening to do a demo of it, I think last night. I haven't seen it yet, but this could be a defining moment. This could be that ChatGPT moment or the NVIDIA moment for Tesla. If they nail this, this is unlimited software licensing potential at 100% profit margin. Again, it'll make NVIDIA growth look paltry in comparison. This is a game changer. And if Elon is even half right with all the hints he's been dropping all year, nailing FSD by year end, this could be staggering for the business. So again, watch this space carefully. Either way, even if they don't do it by the end of the year, it is coming soon. I've been a beta user for a long time. Now, let's talk about some other things as well. This was the Q2 earnings call from the Techno King, Elon himself. And he said autonomy will make all of these numbers look silly. I'd recommend looking at ARK Invest. I think their analysis is very good. Now, he's talking about what happens to the price of Tesla and the margins of Tesla if they nail FSD. That is what he's talking about here, and ARK have done great work in that area. In addition, the results are incredible. Over the quarter, 18% margin, 50% growth rate, gig is ramping. You got Mexico breaking ground right now, crazy reinvestments, free cash flow is growing. Model Y is the best-selling car, not BEV, but best-selling vehicle on the planet. And with that margin, bots, trucks, energy storage, I mean, the business is insane. But we're going to dig into some of that. Before we do, there's talk of LiDAR coming back and some confusion out there. I just want to address this. Elon Musk did say LiDAR is a fool's errand. It relies on it, means doom for any OEM that's going to make vehicles. It's expensive and unnecessary. But they are adding a new version of radar back into their version 4 hardware. That is not LiDAR, that's radar. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that. Next, there's a couple of things happening in the macro environment. The demand of oil is going up, believe it or not. And this is kind of crazy. And the supply, of course, is fixed. Fuel prices are going up. This is all a tailwind for battery electric vehicles because it becomes more and more expensive to fuel vehicles that are very, very inefficient. It is far cheaper to drive a battery electric vehicle. An example, this is a false news from the Federalist Papers. Most electric vehicles can cost more to charge than filling up a car with gas. Nope. Let me show you my exact numbers. So the cost per 100 miles for me is about $3. My cost per kilowatt hour is 12 cents. My previous car, it would have cost me $4.57. I would have used about $23 worth of gasoline to drive my previous car, which was kind of 20 miles per gallon, considered very average for American cars. But instead of spending $23, I only need to spend $3 to do 100 miles. So the gas used for 100 miles is 5 gallons versus 25 kilowatt hours. And you can see the price difference here very, very clearly. So let's talk about supercharging, considering we're on the topic of gas. You can see here, this is from Sawyer Merritt, a guru in the space. Tesla opened an average of 3.5 new supercharging sites globally per day in Q2, and they're only ramping up. Why are they ramping up? I'll get to that in a minute. But they're trying to build much more of an experience into the whole charging for Teslas. Tesla has recently won a permit for a diner and a drive-in movie theater supercharger in Los Angeles. So you can probably plug in your speaker and your car and watch a movie and charge and get some food and all that type of stuff. Maybe this will just be a showcase thing. Maybe this will be a trend in the future. Who knows? But building that whole magnificent customer experience into the car experience is quite stunning. In addition, we're back to superchargers. Wedbush says, Dan Ives from Wedbush says the Tesla supercharging business is likely to reach up to $20 billion by 2030. That is a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. And how can they get so big so fast? Well, everybody's embracing the Tesla standard. These are some of the names that are embracing it and will be building into their vehicles, which means they'll be going to Tesla chargers to charge. Rivian, Ford, Nissan, Mercedes-Benz, Volvo, Fisker, Polestar. Fisker and Polestar probably won't be around in a few years anyway, so that's not really important. General Motors also probably won't be around in 8 years. But anyway, they're there. Did I say Volvo, Honda, Acura? Again, the who's who list of players are embracing the Tesla charging standard. And of course, if you drive a non-Tesla and you're surrounded by Teslas, that will in itself have an infectious appeal for people to buy more Teslas. Speaking of Honda, Tesla's annual automotive revenue run rate is right now $87 billion as of yesterday's earnings release. That's up $14 billion from the full year of 2022. And you can see here per this chart, it's going up the charts real fast. And the next target is Honda. After that, Hyundai, BMW, GM, Mercedes, Ford, Stellantis, Volkswagen, and Toyota. They're all going to start shrinking, ladies and gentlemen. And Tesla's just going to fly up the charts. And a big thank you to I Cannot Enough for this beautiful little chart here as well. Now, talk about the charging. Does that mean they'll also be licensing FSD? Well, the first OEM deal where Tesla charges OEM for FSD tech will add new line item and new revenue, billions of revenue, to Tesla's valuation. Now, we're not sure who this OEM is. There's some rumors saying it is Stellantis. But again, once it happens, once the first one signs on, 10 more will do it immediately. That's just how it worked with supercharging. That's exactly how the dominoes will flow with this. And Tesla's FSD lead is far, far away from everybody else. In addition, Dan Ives on Tesla raises price target to $350. You know, it's $350 for me is a bit of a no-brainer for the company, what it is. But again, he is extremely bullish on things like Cybertruck coming. He believes they'll be doing 250 to 370,000 units per year. But with a 2 million car backlog, it's still going to take years to get through all of that backlog. And again, regarding the Cybertruck, there's never been a backlog like this in the history. So Cybertruck is coming, and the interest tops the charts as well. Popularity as to who will buy. Nearly 79% of Model 3 owners are currently planning a new car in the next 2 years, and they're considering 51.8% of them a Cybertruck or a Model Y, whatever. The most important thing to take away from this is people that buy Teslas stick with Teslas because there's nothing better. In addition, it's also the most American-made car company in the US. Tesla assembles everything. 100% of everything is assembled from American-made parts, unlike Ford, where it's 77.5% and GM 54%. And if you look at the American-made index rankings, the top 4 cars are all Teslas, and soon it'll be Cybertruck in there too. And then followed by foreign car makers, Honda, Volkswagen, Honda, Acura. So you can see that Ford and GM aren't even in the reckoning here for American-made. Now, let's switch gears and talk about some of the other good stuff that Tesla is doing. First of all, they're building data centers. Again, we talked a lot about AI and compute in the previous video this week, but it's critical to understand where the company is going. All right, Tesla are building data centers, and they're building their own chips. They had, as of Q1, they had 7 of these exapods in Palo Alto. I won't talk too much about the power of these exapods, but they're building their own hardware for their data centers to power things like Dojo, that powers things like FSD. But that's not it, folks. There's more. Tesla is now the world's largest energy storage system provider, but all the analysts in Wall Street still think it's a car company. After all I just spoke about, charging and FSD and making chips, and now they're the leader in energy storage. And this is a beautiful visual I've shown once before. $500 million worth here, or the equivalent of 16,000 Model 3s in one picture. 16,000 cars. This is how much these big energy storage devices are. 146 megapacks there. And they are the leader in the business. And not only does Tesla make cars, it's a car company, but it also fixes the electric grids. Texas just approved 2 Tesla virtual power plants to help out the state's power grid. Remember, help out, fix the gaps that they have. This virtual power plant, it's basically small energy storage devices that help the distributed energy of the power grid in Texas deal with high load times where individuals can sell their electricity back to the grid to help them deal when they are absolutely strapped. And this will also smooth out prices for customers as well. And they believe this will contribute up to 80 megawatts of power per year controlled by automated responses. So again, not only is it an energy storage company, but it helps grids fix their issues. And remember, Elon Musk said this back in, I think it was June 2021 or late 2021, but he said EVs are a rounding error compared to energy. I think the energy business is going to be 100 times bigger than the automotive business. And we already spoke about the potential of the automotive business with FSD, things going to Infinity, looking at the ARC models. The automotive business is a rounding error compared to the energy business, ladies and gentlemen. Massive, massive news. Now, let's talk about some other customer segments that many don't even realize. But there are police departments all over the US buying the Tesla rigged out cop cars. Just today, Folsom Police Department in California are receiving their first pair of electric vehicles. One is a Model Y, one is a Model 3. Basic, it's performance edition cars, I think, with better brakes, air suspension, and of course, bulletproofness, which is necessary. So that's just one of the examples. But also, check this out. This is a Tesla truck, and they are scaling too. You got Pepsi-Cola and Frito-Lay and all these companies using these to deliver product on a large scale. Now Tesla is beginning to use them to deliver vehicles. This is a Tesla truck with Model Ys at the back that they're delivering in, I think it was Elk Grove, California, not too far from here. Now, India is coming soon. So everybody wants Tesla. Elon Musk has been courted by the leaders of the planet, whether they are heads of state in Indonesia, in Mexico, in India, etc. And Tesla has been pushing for India EV import tax policy changes. And they want to propose a tax duty cut for EV makers who commit to invest resources in the country. And India is considering a plan wary of impact on local players, but also helping the local industry, helping the country grow so they can turn this into a factory in India and also export from there to the rest of Southeast Asia. And this is just some perspective of the Cybertruck. Everybody's buzzing about the Cybertruck. The launch is imminent. I'd say in the next 4 weeks it's going to happen. Probably going to happen by the middle of September based on rumors I hear out there. And just to show you the size of the Tesla Cybertruck compared to a Ford F-150, the biggest selling truck in the United States. They sell millions of these every year, I think. But you can see the size is huge, but the design is so different. It's like it's funny. There's a porta potty beside the black F-150. But once these things come out into the wild and everybody sees them, nobody will want to be seen in such an old gas-guzzling truck that gets 12 miles a gallon, where you can go faster, tow more, power your tools, you name it, in this vertical utility truck. Now, competition, there is competition coming. You can see that Tesla is not only smashing existing EV makers, but also ice makers. But this is from James Catt and talks about Lucid bleeding cash. They are cutting prices and they're losing something like $500,000 on every vehicle they make. They just can't do it. And Tesla is just beginning to place the squeeze, everybody. So remember, when in doubt, zoom out from Reggie Watts. This is the path, the money shot, the path to a 10x stock. When Elon Musk said this, the stock was at $292. And he said, I care a lot about the sort of small shareholders, especially ones that have stuck with us through thick and thin. I actually invested in Tesla first when they were on the verge of bankruptcy, because that's what I do. But I believed in the company, bought the Tesla X 5 years ago. And that once I drove that car, I knew it was a game changer. So, and he says, like, I have very high confidence in the long-term value of Tesla. Like I see it, I really see a path to a 10x. Okay, so 10x from 292, call that 300 times 10 is a $3,000 stock. I have, my bear case is 2,800 by the year 2032, and it goes all the way up to about 8,900. So that's where we are, everybody. Thank you so much to everybody on Patreon that supports the channel. I love working with you all each and every day, 7 days a week, and answering your questions and putting together content like this. So thank you for all the help. And everybody, I hope you enjoyed. Sorry, my face isn't there today. Technical issues. But again, have a great evening, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.